Hello, it's great to have you back. Now the festive season is fast approaching, and what better way than to get rid of the lockdown blues than to make some decorations for Christmas. We've got a great project that gives us the perfect excuse to get out with the kids into the woodland. Not that you need an excuse to get out with the kids, but this video is going to be about making a Christmas wreath out of all the things that I can find in the woodland, and hopefully you'll be able to do the same. Now it's really important that we pay particular attention to the 4 F's when we're out collecting our things for our crafts. What are the 4 F's, you ask? Well, that's the big wordy bit in the Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981, which tells us that we're only allowed to collect fruit, foliage, flowers and fungi. So what does it mean, Ben? Well, if we're on public land like a footpath or a bridleway, or private and we've got landowner's permission, as long as it's not a protected species, we can take fruit, fungi, foliage and flowers. But here at Woodsman Bushcraft, we teach about sustainable harvesting, and we tell our students, such as yourselves, to just take 10% of that resource. That's a maximum, not a minimum, so take the little bit you need from the tree and move on. If everybody uses the first tree they find to take little bits off, all those little bits are going to soon add up and ruin the resource for everybody else. And we can't forget the wildlife that depend on it as well. So move on down the track and use the resources sparingly. I've collected everything that we need for our wreath. We've got some holly with some nice red berries on there. We've got some yew sprigs, some ivy. Now the ivy can be quite brittle, so that might be a bit of trial and error there getting that off. And then for our hoop we're going to use this piece of hazel. It's around about finger thickness, maybe a bit smaller. And this time of year it's quite stiff, so we might have to break it over our knee a little bit just to get it moving. There's a few stiff bits in there. There we are, so I'm going to put a nice long taper on these so we can hopefully attach them together. They may just snap, in which case we'll have to work that out. But let's see what we can do. Let's just mark on where our tapers need to go. I want to make them nice and long. Always working away from yourself with the knife. So this is a good thing to get the children to do. Make sure they're sitting on the chair, knees apart, elbows on their knees, and they're just pushing the knife away from them. Okay, let's see if that works. Let me take a little bit more off. There you go. A bit of a kink in it, but we can work with that. You're not going to see this. A little bit more off of there. Okay, now we can put a wrap around there with some jute twine. Right, so to whip these together, you put them where they're going to go and hold them tight. We make a loop on tail tits. We make a loop. You hold it past where we want to whip. You make sure they don't get tangled. This end goes far past where we want it to go. And then we start at the working end. It's going to be tricky. And you wrap it nice and tight. So you see there? I'm just making my way up the stick, wrapping it round. Okay, I'm going to get on with this. I'll see you at the end of the other end. Okay, so you can see I've gone all the way along there, keeping it nice and tight. Just getting to this other end. And then we take this end and we pass it through our loop. Then we take hold of this end and we can pull it don't know if you can see this. You can pull it down and the loop's going to go underneath all these wraps and hold it firm, and because this is jute it might snap, but it won't go anywhere. He says. Now it broke. So you can see there it's being held in, and we can just cut this end off. So we've got our hoop now, even with the kink, but we can get rid of the kink, it's not a problem, don't worry about that. We're going to wrap it in ivy. Now the ivy might not stay too firm to the hoop, so we can tie that in. It'll all come clear, don't you worry. So all we're going to do here is wrap our ivy around our hoop. It's going to do two things. It's going to give us a bit more green, and it's also going to give us, see, just snaps. It's going to give us something to support everything else that we're fitting into our wreath. And you can tuck it into itself and it should hold very nice. He says, being attacked. Now it's important when we're collecting ivy this time of year to try and not collect the flowers, because it is the only, well, it's the only real flower that's available in the winter for our insects. All these straggly bits, we can wrap those around as well. There you go. We can go around and we can tidy up. We can go around. Okay, so there's our hoop starting to take shape. It's a bit of a mess. Now you can go around and trim all this off. I want to see how it looks with it all on. And now I'm going to go onto the blanket and we're going to start putting on our yew sprigs. Okay, so when we're putting these in, we just want it all go in the same way. So the way that we were putting our ivy in, we'll just follow it round. Get it in the right way. Got our little hints of red. Which is our holly. This is a bit trickier because the stems are a bit softer. I'm sitting right. My final touch for our Christmas wreath. I've got some pine cones. And we all know things happen in threes in the creative world. So I'm going to tie 3 of them together and then tie those 3 to my wreath. I've had these on the pot-bedded stove drying out. They're getting there, but they're not quite there yet. So there it is, our finished wreath. Now you can add other things to it if you want, but I think that looks wonderful. I really enjoy making this today, and I'm sure if you give it a go you will too. If you do manage to make anything for Christmas out of anything from nature, please send us a photo to our Facebook page at Woodsman Bushcraft, and we'll see if we can feature it in our next video. I plan on doing a few more Christmas decoration videos this year, just to give the people that are, in lockdown something to do. Get you out in nature, give you and the kids a project. It's been really enjoyable. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time at Woodsman Bushcraft.